You said.
I said, well, the first thing that we're taught from the mosques as well is that everyone has different interpretations of the Quran, and that any translation to any language will never be literal, because it can never be translated from one language to another. That's how language works. So
does that mean there's no true interpretation? Not
exactly, there is no true interpretation, which is why when we're taught in Islam, there are different types of Muslims. Everything is based on your intention. That's the fundamental rule of Islam. It's called a niyat. So
say what. So I just stood up and I'm getting in an argument with some young lads, and I said to them, okay, they said it doesn't say in the Quran to beat your wife, yeah? And I said, but I've read it does. Yeah?
So when
you've got the Quran there, can we have a look at it?
If they can do it to me, they can do it to animals. So we have to say.
Sorry?
See Ibn Kathir.
Yeah.
So if I'll tell you something now about him, yeah, with what he says. Okay?
See, this is a new book I've got.
I'm
still learning.
Okay, so Ibn Kathir is one of the most recognised, as you'll agree, one of the most renowned Saudi scholars. Yeah.
I can't comment on that. I don't know anything about.
Okay. Well, what he says that the word mischief. Yeah. His interpretation of what mischief means is not believing in Allah. Yeah? Now, if you take
that's his interpretation.
Okay, but he's very recognised. Yeah. So if he believes mischief means not believing in Allah, yeah, then those who cause mischief in the lands, which is what Lee Rigby's killer, when he killed Lee Rigby, he held up 55 verses from the Quran. He gave them to a woman, yeah, and he said, "These are the verses that forced me to do it." Now, those verses spoke about causing mischief. Now, he said that Lee Rigby caused mischief in Muslim lands, yeah, which I'd agree. Like any British army going into a Muslim country, I'm against the British army going into those countries. But according to him, yeah, being a non-Muslim means you can be killed. That's what mischief means. And that's his. I know you're talking about interpretation, but the actual person you've got there, that's what he says.
See, but that's what I'm saying. That's his interpretation.
Yeah?
No,
that he's recognised. He's one of the most recognised followed. Ibn Kathir.
But just like that, you're one of the most recognised British nationals. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that something that you will interpret within the fundamentalism of British.
If what he says wasn't right, or Muslims had a problem with it, you wouldn't have it here, be buying it. It wouldn't be for sale in all the Muslim bookshops across this country. Mosques wouldn't be promoting it, which they are. Yeah. His interpretation of mischief is being non-Muslim, which means, as a non-Muslim, you can be killed. That's what it means. Can we go back to that verse?
Yeah, sure.
Just so we can see, because that's what.
See, and obviously the way that you've read it, it's translated differently.
So let me read it. Yeah. Men are in charge of women because Allah has made one of them excel the other. So men are better than women. Men are in charge of women because they spend on their property. So good women.
For the support of women.
So good women are obedient, guarding in secret with which Allah is God. As for those for whom you fear rebellion, so women who are not doing as they're told.
Rebellion doesn't mean not doing.
Okay, admonish them and banish them to beds apart and scourge them. What does scourge them mean in your interpretation?
Scourge, that's what I mean. Interpretation. Scourge can be don't treat them as well, as in don't give them the goodness, don't give them anything to benefit from. But that's my interpretation. Someone else.
Say if I show you now, there's video. Say for example, do you know Abdul Rahim Green? Do you know a charity called IRA?
Aaron, no, I don't.
A big Islamic charity.
Okay.
He's on video, many of them are. And the argument they have is that when they're talking about beating your wife, they say it's with a miswak. They say it's with a miswak.
Okay.
Then you go to the hadith where it says with a miswak. But what I'm saying is when I'm talking to Muslims, say, well, it says you can beat your wife. Yeah. And you can go online now and Google many Qurans.
That's what.
You've got
when I'm learning it myself, people have different interpretations.
Let me show you first. So I asked, does it say in the Quran if you kill one man, you kill all of humanity?
Yeah.
Is that? Can we go to 532? Is that where it says it?
532. I can't say where it is. Surah Al-Baqarah.
Surah Al-Fatiha.
I'll show you.
Is there as well.
Surah Al-Fatiha.
And the last one is there as well.
Do you think I hate you?
No, I don't think you hate me. No. I just think you're misinformed.
Okay.
And you have misinterpretation. Well, not misinterpretation. Different interpretations of the Quran, just as so many do.
But did you live in?
Just like I have a different interpretation of the Bible, which is why I don't believe in the Bible.
Can I just show you what the meaning of scourge is? Yeah? Whip used as an instrument of punishment.
Scourge. That's when the definition of the word. You can understand why this.
But then it can also be causing suffering. Suffering can be
So
doesn't
why
have
would
to
you
be
want-
physical.
Why,
It can
why
be.
would you want wives to suffer if they weren't going to be obedient?
Basically, what that verse says
But
is
that's what I'm saying.
men own
Not
women.
everything is a literal translation. It's depending on interpretation. Just how when he researched something up, it didn't say exactly what I've got here. They're written in different ways, and every single language, it's
What's
an old
what's
traditional language.
532?
532?
Yeah. Because we hear regularly quoted.
532. For
For
that cause we decree
discreed
for
of
the
the
children
children.
of Israel,
Whoever
that
kills a
whoever
human
being, for other than murder or corruption in the earth, it shall be as if he had killed all mankind. Who saves the life of one, it shall be as our messengers came unto the world with clear
The
proofs.
proofs of Allah. So what's five? So you read that, yeah, and that sounds
Yeah.
great, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Right? Now read 530. Now read the next verse. The only reward for those who make war upon Allah and His Messenger and strive after corruption in the land. So corruption is mischief. Yeah. Now this man here.
Yeah.
Right, keep reading. So corruption is mischief will be that they will be killed and crucified, or have their hands and feet, alternative sides cut off, or they will be expelled out of the land. Yeah. So basically, if you kill one man, you kill all of humanity, unless they cause mischief, and then you can kill them, murder them, butcher them, expel them. And actually, this book, which is just insane that you're holding it, it's actually him who gives you, and I can show you that now, him that gives you the interpretation of what mischief and corruption is. And he specifically says mischief and corruption means not believing in Allah. I don't believe in Allah. So am I causing mischief? So according to that there, I can be killed. Now you're not taking that, yeah? That's great, yeah? You're not taking, and in fact, majority of Muslims are not taking that. But Lee Rigby's killer did, yeah? He specifically told us why he done it, yeah?
Yeah.
Same as Salman Abedi, same as all these people. Now, actually, not just one or two. We're talking about hundreds and thousands. 2,000 young men have gone out and fought for ISIS.
Yeah.
They're taking a different interpretation of that. So am I wrong? Yeah, to read this, and I'll research all of it. I've read that. I've read Ibn Ishaq's biography of Muhammad.
Yeah.
I've sat and read and studied all of it, and I'm coming to the conclusion that, hold on, even if you don't take it like that, yeah, there's still a massive problem here, a massive
There is.
problem that we need to stop. From my point of view, I'm looking at it thinking this is scary. Yeah, we've got books that are telling people to kill people. I'll show you now. Yeah, Ibn Ishaq, because.
Could I just butt in? You know how you're saying mischief? Here it says
Corruption.
make war upon Allah
corruption.
after corruption.
Corruption. So look,
after corruption in the land.
Yeah, and it is. So basically.
But then again, war and corruption, it's still again, it's not. There is nothing literally saying this is corruption, this is
Yeah,
war.
can you come around here? Is that right?
Sorry.
I'll show you now. Look, the meaning of mischief. Yeah. The
Yeah.
meaning of mischief. Now, if we go to this. This is his tasfir.
Yeah.
And he is the one the most recognised, which is probably why you're reading it. One of the most recognised across the world, yeah? Now, in this tafsir, even the meaning of mischief, when it says then, do not make mischief on the earth, they say we are angels for their ignorance. Do not make mischief on the earth. That is disbelief in disobedience. The disbelief. Why disbelief? Why disbelief? You understand why I... So don't... Sense.
No, I don't understand why you would fear it.
Some of these lads are getting they're young, but the reality is there's genuine. It's not like I haven't researched and found these issues, and I'm
Yeah.
like, hold on. And it's not like if Lee Rigby's killer hadn't done that, if we hadn't seen all this terrorism, it's not like I'm just picking fault. I'm looking. When Lee Rigby's killer done that, he gave a woman 55 verses, and I watched him in court,
Yeah.
and I spoke to his brother, who's a convert as well, after the case. Because his argument, when he got told you're a the judge said words to him like you're betraying Islam, and he lost a head, yeah? Because in his head, he's following that to the word, and what he's done is just because Lee Rigby went and caused mischief.
Yeah.
So he sees himself as he's fighting a fight, yeah? And he's a soldier. That's how he viewed it. Yeah? As the 2,000 Muslims that went to fight for Syria, that's how they viewed it.
Yeah.
As all of these men are viewing it. So my point is, we need to stop this, and to stop it, we need to understand this. And as soon as I try and talk about this or
Yeah.
Muhammad, people go mad.
People do go mad, but one thing as well, when you're trying to stop something like that, you got to look at statistics on what are the common, not just within Islamic extremism, with terrorism overall, what are the most common,
Reasons for it? What do you mean
not
by
reasons,
foreign-
what are the
foreign-
most common factors you see with these people? Most people are young men who are from vulnerable and deprived backgrounds. That does not mean
the two men who drove the the car into Glasgow Airport were doctors.
They were
Many of the
doctors.
people have been highly educated and highly wealthy.
Exactly,
They're
they
not-
have
it's not
been,
like- yeah.
but most have come from these backgrounds. Then you've got to find out what is getting in common with these people who are being deprived. They don't have resources to fix the problems that they're dealing with when they're in these vulnerable situations.
Okay, so if that
Right.
was the case, how come loads of non-Muslim, say like little young black youth who are from the most deprived backgrounds in the
Yeah.
country, the most abused, the most
Yeah.
targeted by police and all these things, how come they're not blowing anyone up?
That's the thing. It doesn't all lead to extremism. It will lead to different sorts of criminal activity and different sorts of.
I'm saying it's this. That's what my
You're
thing-
saying it's this.
No, in fact,
saying it's.
No, I'm not saying it's
it's
this.
being-
All the men that do it say it's this. All the men that go and commit acts of terrorism say it's this. They say it's Mohammed. So I'm simply saying, okay, we have 22,000 British in Britain. We have 22,000 Muslims on a watch list, yeah, on a
Right.
terror watch list. That's a small army. Yeah, that's no longer about 1, 2, 5, 6. This
Being
is
on a watch list doesn't mean you're guilty of being a
no,
terrorist. though.
it doesn't. But say the 3,000 watch list. The top 3,000 people on that watch list, the most at threat, the most risk. Yeah, the last 4 terrorist attacks weren't even from people in the top 3,000. They're from people who weren't even being watched outside of them.
Exactly, which shows that there's a fault in the way that we're
It
dealing
shows
with
there's
it.
too many.
It shows
there's
that there
too
is a
many.
fault in how we're dealing with it currently. And I personally know people who are getting involved in dealing with terrorism and are helping the government. Obviously, I can't
Of course
say who
not.
they are.
Say like,
But-
and then even whenever so I like to understand where we come from. Yeah? Even in say like the Pew, what's his name, McDonald, who used to be the head of diversity, who done What Do British Muslims Really Think, the Channel 4 documentary. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't.
66% of British Muslims said they would not report on another Muslim who was getting involved with ISIS. That's
Okay.
a lot. 66%. There's 2 million Muslims in this country who would not report. Yeah? Imagine what that's. So and in fact, it should be like it for yourself because even in your.
And that is an issue, and that is something that
massive.
we need working on.
But
And
then-
it's
but then-
similar.
but
It's similar
then-
to rape culture.
Then
where,
if you take verses from this book,
Yeah.
it says that you cannot side with the non-Muslim over the Muslim. Yeah, there's certain verses in here which I try and make sense of all
Well-
of it. Why won't they report on terrorism? Well, because then they're kafar.
But
they're
then it also
apostates.
kind of counteracts with where if you're helping one human, it's like you've helped the whole of humanity. That doesn't exclude anyone who's non-Muslim.
Yeah, but the next verse does, doesn't it? 533 does.
But then again, that comes back to interpretation because that's talking about war and people who are corrupt.
His interpretation.
You also need to
That's
take
his
into account-
interpretation. But that doesn't mean
One of
that's
the most recognised in the world. If it wasn't recognised, if that was a front to
I know
what
nothing about him. That's the thing. I'm not picking this because of him. I'm
Why are
picking
you
this
picking this?
because
Then? Let me see it. Why are you picking this?
because I want to learn. I want to see what's going on. Like I'm carrying 2 books. I'm not carrying one like, oh, that's the one I'm going to follow.
Oh, I know. No. I'm just saying that.
It's research. That's
It-
what it is. It's like
it's-
any sort
I
of
research, and I
like
do- and I do
look,
research. I
Yeah,
do-
but look here. Most of the people here are college students. They're going to college. Anything that they have to look up, they're referencing. They're finding out so many pieces of evidence. Just like us Muslims do. When we're at mosque, we look at different books. We look at the Quran. We look at all these different books that different people have written. But we never say that the people that have written this book are the perfect examples to look for interpretations.
Where's that other fella? Why couldn't you just talk like that? My man who just kept arguing.
Teenage boys.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it. I get it
exactly.
anyway, because I was exactly the same.
But vote Labour up here. It's always been do what your dad said.
Who would you vote for?
Yeah, people.
Who would you vote for on May 21st?
I can't vote.
You can't vote.
That's the thing. That's what also makes a huge issue in this community is that so many people. I'm 19. So many people here can't vote. So that means not everyone that lives here is being represented.
Well, we're certain. From everyone, like the reception I've received in this town, I've been to towns all over for the last
Yeah.
week, I'm going to continue to. I get an amazing reception. Yeah?
Okay.
An amazing reception. So that should send a message to people, especially on censorship, on the issues I talk about. And I don't hate Muslims. Some of the best lads I met growing up in Luton were Muslim. Did you say you lived in Luton?
Yeah, I lived in Luton.
Where'd you live?
I lived near Dunstable.
Oh, did you? Out of Luton, that is. The
But
back,
near
near the Saints
uh,
area. Near Chorney School.
more, yeah,
Yeah.
near that.
Yeah.
You know where Kingsway is?
Yeah, Kingsway. My friend lives there.
Okay.
Brothers. Muslim brothers. Razwan, Imran.
Right.
Family of them.
My
Asmats.
family are there.
Your family are there?
Yeah.
They'll know their family. They're Asmats. They were my best friend. And he died, I couldn't even go to his funeral because of my beliefs. Not because of, because of my beliefs. Because a lot of the Muslims would have been upset. I didn't hate him, I loved him.
Yeah.
But I dislike this. Doesn't mean I hate you. I dislike this. I dislike this.
You dislike this, you've got every right to dislike it. But then spreading the hate,
What hate?
within, that's the thing. But when you speak about specific verses, give your interpretation of it, you are pointing it at us Muslims and saying that these are your actions that are spreading these beliefs. But they're the beliefs that you've interpreted, not us.
No, they're not. They're the views that the Muslims who are killing people and murdering people have interpreted.
That's what they've interpreted. But that's another issue that we need to be working
But
on.
I'm not the one spreading the hate, it's them. I'm
They're
talking
the
about
ones.
what they're doing. So I'm talking about, they've just killed someone, they've said it was
But if
because
you
of
want to
this.
counteract, if you want to counteract their actions, you could be saying this is what they're believing. Doesn't mean I believe it.
didn't say
This
that.
is what they are believing.
If you can
How
find-
can we prevent other young youths from believing these same things? Look at who it is that they're radicalizing. Who is it that they're recruiting? Muslim youth. But then you
Most
have.
people get killed by Muslims.
But just like how Muslims are being hated now. Did you
what
say
hate?
your mother was Irish?
No blacks,
Just like
no dogs, no Irish.
exactly,
I
the
know.
Irish. Quite a while back, like everyone knows, the Irish weren't looked that great either.
No?
They were called terrorists. They were blamed for so many of the IRA events.
Yeah. Yeah, my mum used to get
But-
stopped at the airport. But they
But I
understood it
wouldn't
as
call
well.
your mum.
But
I want to say that your mum is.
But because of that didn't radicalise me to go and blow shit up. That did, hearing these stories, because we hear all this all the time, that the reason this is because of the way the police are acting, and look, we always get told you're further going to radicalise. How many people are still blowing stuff up because their parents got bad treatment?
Yeah.
No one. But then we're told this constantly from the Islamic community. Oh, you'll further radicalise people if you do that. You'll upset, and if you radicalise them, they'll get angry, and then they'll go and blow stuff up. It's like what? What?
Right.
They'll
Okay. I'm not
they'll
going to
become
say.
extreme.
I'm not going to say you're further radicalizing them. But I'm saying if you do want to help them out, don't push these vulnerable people away. Pull them in. See what is it that's making you interpret it this way. Be an aid for them rather than.
Shamina Begum.
Pardon?
Shamina Begum.
Shamima Begum.
Yep.
Yeah.
Should we let her back?
Personally, I feel like once you've done the damage, it's been done. Whatever the government are communicating with her,
Yes or no? Should we let her back?
it's not as simple as that.
It is.
No, it very much
She made
isn't.
suicide vests. She went
That's
and
the
joined
thing.
She went and joined a foreign ideology and a foreign war against us and what we live for and stand for. She went and signed up for the opposition. She committed treason. She done all these things. Should we let her back? See,
Best way I
See,
can.
I can. You seem like a lovely young girl. You have completely moderate views, and then on that point, it's like that's where it's like. So we should let ISIS fighters back. Should
No,
we?
but it isn't as simple as that.
Why not?
Because it's like, right, look at, I don't know how to explain it, a gang of, a drug gang,
Yeah.
right? If you have someone who has been very highly active in this gang, and they have information, they have stuff that
You
they
wanna
can
bring them back
provide for
to
you,
prevent it?
you,
Don't worry.
no, you want to bring them in
Yeah.
to try and figure out how you can further affect this gang and stop them from affecting the rest of the community.
We've already had 500 ISIS fighters come home,
Yeah.
so they can do that with those 500, but they haven't. I mean, it's
No,
like, if you look
but
at
things are happening.
The anti-radicalisation courses in jail, they're not working. People go into jail and come out worse. None of these, so all these things is like playing games. Like, I don't want to play games with the security of my
Yeah.
country or my people for the sake of, shall we let her back just because she went out there and joined people who killed, murdered, raped.
But just because some of it is still happening doesn't mean there is no effect happening with how we are fixing things.
I'll say thank you.
All right,
Thank you
sorry,
for
I've
talking to me.
taken way
No,
long
it's all right,
time.
I'll talk to them. Thanks a lot. Pleasure.